46 years have passed since I first met Westerners in 1977. My work since then has focused on international communication and exchange. There has always been an insurmountable gap between China and the West. And even throughout all these years, the West has still never really understood China. There are many misunderstandings and even prejudice about China, and vice versa. In recent years, political factors have directly influenced relations between people. Over the years, I have devoted myself to people-to-people communication and understanding. As a result, I wrote a book titled From Red Guard to CEO, which aims to explain in simple words what is happening in China to uncover the stories of Chinese people from the perspective of a native Chinese, and to present historical events as a first-hand and non-judgmental account of events. However, what is happening in our world today often makes me sad. Instead of getting closer, the East and the West are drifting apart. And I fear that my decades of efforts may ultimately be in vain. When I have the opportunity to hear or read about China in foreign media, I often regret to notice that at present, there are very few Chinese overseas who speak out in English, let alone Chinese living in mainland China. Moreover, the vast majority of the overseas Chinese or Chinese-speaking Westerners bring their own perspectives to make judgments and predictions about China's current situation and future, making it difficult to have a complete, objective, and fair account of events. It is very disturbing and heartbreaking to see the deterioration of relations between countries and the deepening of the gap between people. Given my upbringing, I thought that I could transcend government relations and political disputes and do what I could do to increase people-to-people understanding to the point of mutual understanding based on the commonality of human beings. It may not do much, but it's better than doing nothing. Between 1997 to 2015, I had the opportunity to work with the Americans from the People-to-People Ambassador programs. Each year, we hosted thousands of goodwill ambassadors from all walks of life from the US and the world to visit China. President Eisenhower, founder of People-to-People International, recognized that the surest way to break cycles of fear and misunderstanding was for people to understand one another. He knew that for this to be effective, it must come not through government, but through the hearts of people yearning for dignity, freedom, and peace. Every friendship ambassador of People-to-People traveled thousands of miles to this mysterious land in the East, following President Eisenhower's vision of seeking to understand China and enhance friendship with Chinese people. Whatever happens between governments should not be a reason to hinder people-to-people exchanges. The People-to-People Ambassador programs ended in 2015. However, I have not given up on my mission to promote people-to-people exchanges. I often wonder, as ordinary citizens who cannot influence politics or change institutions, what can we do to make the world a little better? I would like to be a citizen ambassador doing my best to bring people closer together, to create opportunities for people-to-people communication and understanding. I have arranged or accompanied countless international friends on their trips in China. I have traveled the world and made friends with people from all corners of the globe. Back in 2008, I led 250 American educators to a Buyi village in remote and impoverished mountains of Guizhou. That is my hometown. The villagers spontaneously came to the elementary school campus in the village to welcome their new friends. I was moved to tears when I saw the villagers and these American visitors embracing each other warmly, holding hands, and talk eloquently. They each spoke a language the other did not understand, but their expressions and body language embodied strong friendship. Shouldn't this be how people interact with each other? It reminds me of the words of General Eisenhower's granddaughter, Mary Eisenhower, who once said, "My granddad realized that the world peace had to come from the soul of human nature, and that government could not dictate the human heart, only reflect it." I also accompanied the Nixon Foundation's delegation to Beijing, Hangzhou, and Shanghai in context of Nixon's visit to China, aimed at enhancing friendship between China and the United States. I will never forget a scene in Hangzhou at Huagang Park when I told a grandmother who was holding a baby in her arms that this was Nixon's grandson. Her eyes immediately turned red. As a generation of Chinese who witnessed Nixon's visit to China, we only have a simple understanding of his visit to China. You come for friendship, and we will return your friendship. I once introduced an American soldier to my uncle, a veteran of the war to resist the US and aid Korea. Who would have thought that enemies on the battlefield could now sit together and talk about the world, shedding tears of regret when they parted? I have invited many international friends to my home in Beijing to meet and to share their stories with my parents, siblings, colleagues, and friends. And I have found that people are all the same by nature, no matter what nationality or race they are. They all long for friendship, equality, peace, and freedom. The more often the meaningful we communicate, the more empathy we can generate. In the past 20 years, I have accepted more than 20 university students from Europe to intern in my company, many of them staying at my home. Seeing them interact with the young people in my company, witnessing their gradual understanding of China through their love for the culture and their friendliness towards Chinese people, makes me believe there will be no prejudice and discrimination in their future. However, to achieve this, we need each and everyone's efforts. There is still serious racial discrimination in our world, and the discrimination against Asians has gotten worse in recent years. I don't particularly have anything against those Westerners who discriminate against Chinese. I just feel sorry for their ignorance. I often think that if they could understand China and turn their hatred into understanding or even love, wouldn't the world be a better place? Wouldn't our lives be more meaningful? This is why I started this YouTube channel in the first place.
Tiền đã đổ lệ đi